You did ask me about Dear Student, so I should tell you about Dear Student.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so sooner or later, any publicists who might be listening or wonder, are they going to talk about the book? Let's let's talk about the book. As promised, I will not summarize your book. What does the esteemed audience need to know about Dear Student?
Oh my God, the esteemed audience needs to know everything about Dear Student. They should definitely run out, pre-order it today and read it, because I can't wait for them to meet Autumn and Pickle and Logan and Cooper. I love these characters so much, Rob. Dear Student is about Autumn, who has social anxiety, and a giant guinea pig who I named Spud because he does look like a giant baked potato. And she becomes the secret voice of the middle school advice column. And this is a story about her finding, not just finding, but owning her voice. Because her closest friend, Prisha, has moved away, and she is much more comfortable hanging out with the animals at her parents' vet place and her little sister Pickle than she is meeting a bunch of new sixth graders in middle school. I mean, that's hard and a lot for her. Her father, who has left to join the Peace Corps, tasks her with, she's got to find her one thing. Her fearless Fred, as you referenced. Fearless Fred is the part of us, so her dad says, that fear can't boss around. And she's got to do one thing at school. So she finds this secret advice column. And along the way in school, she meets two friends, Logan and Cooper, who could not be more different. And she ends up giving advice. And first she's nervous, then she's kind of pretty good at it. And she's feeling confident, and letters come in for her to respond to. And she starts giving a lot of advice. And one piece of advice puts her smack dab in the middle of her friends, Logan and Cooper, who are on opposite sides of this issue. And she has to decide, what is she going to do? And in the process of figuring out, does she stand by what she believes in, even if it ends up hurting a friend? Something happens, and I can't spoil it. But when this particular thing in the story happens, a catalyst that kind of threatens her identity, she needs to make a lot of really big decisions. She needs to figure out who she is, and she needs to figure out how to own that. Right? Like it's not enough to just find your voice, but to use your voice, to share what's in your heart, to make a difference in the world, and to respect others that may not agree with you. Like, she has to learn, like, your friends are not your friends because you all agree about everything. Your friends are the people that respect you even when you don't agree about everything. And that's something that she needs to learn. And one of my favorite parts of the book is the last page, which I still cry like every time I read it. It's so emotional for me. But she finally finds her fearless Fred. And I love Autumn so much. And I really feel like kids will relate to her. Kids who, we all have those moments, right? Kids, adults, whether you have social anxiety or not, where you walk into a room and you're like, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I dressed the right way? Does this sound weird? Will people think I'm weird? I mean, we all have those moments where we feel awkward and unsure. You don't have to have social anxiety to have that moment. And I'm hoping that the fact that we all have those moments allows us to relate and understand Autumn a little better and connect. And in this time with anxiety on the rise, particularly for kids, I want them to know, like, they've got this. They've totally got this, and they're not alone. There's a lot of us who have anxiety. And then you know, there's so many pets in this book, iguanas and snakes and guinea pigs. And I think kids are going to love those too. And then there's activism, right? That cosmetic company moves into town and she's got to figure out what to do because there's testing on animals. And one really cool thing when I was researching this book, Rob, is that the Humane Act is a bill that's proposed in Congress right now. And it's about cosmetic testing on animals. So it's a really interesting, if you're an educator, it's also an interesting way to start having a conversation about laws and bills and how those are passed and how those can directly impact kids and kids' lives today.
Yeah, we can all get to, you know, I'm going to swallow that thought. We can all get together, work really hard, get a bill put together, put through, and then one person can get, yeah.
Okay. Yes, that. But we'll just focus on the Humane Act at the moment and hope that they can that can happen. But I really love Pickle. I love everybody in this book. I love the characters, and that's the weird thing. Like you write the book, and the characters become like your friends. Like they have such a place, and then you finish writing the book and you write the next one, and I miss them. It's like they've all moved. All of them have collectively moved away from the Cape where the book is based.
You haven't written a sequel, or just not one that's published at this point, right?
I have not. I have actually just yesterday, a student asked. It's a question that comes up a lot. It has actually come up with students have asked with each one of the books if there's going to be a sequel. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. That would be a question that with the publisher. I mean, I'd be amenable. I have ideas for all of them, but there's also so many. I mean, the problem or challenge, it's certainly not a problem. The challenge for me is there's so many things I want to write. I have a new middle grade that is like in my head and I am bursting to write it. But I don't have the brain space yet because right now I'm revising Hidden Truths. So I have to do, which I love. So I have to do that, launch Dear Student, and then I can write this other middle grade. And then if sequels or companion books are in the works, or I would totally love to do that because I love all the characters and I'd love to spend more time with them.
Well, even if that doesn't come to pass, I assume that you are still thinking about them. You still know, even if you don't write it down for the rest of us, you know what happens to them, right?
Yes. I feel like I do spend time thinking about all of the characters in the book and like how I think they're doing and how I hope they're doing. So yes, I do feel like whether it's out there in the world or not, those are storylines that I have run through.